Good afternoon, everybody, or good evening, wherever you may be. It's MicheleMarieDalene. We're trying some experiments today, kind of a carry on from last time, but I'm also going to combine this with a news program at the same time. One of the things I did was last time I got up off the chair, you could see that I was clearly sitting in another chair and not sitting like truly camouflaged out in the snowbank. I'm still using a newsroom type set this time because I wanted to show you some techniques. Well, I'm going to try anyway. Well, I don't know if I might use this set or not. We'll pick one. Anyway, here's the point I'm going to talk to you about. Of course, a couple things have been going on in the news. There's a lot of little strange mites. So let's talk about this first of all. In 2007, Congress, under the influence of President Bush, had passed a energy efficiency act in regarding to the use of lighting. The act was designed to encourage the purpose of making efficient light bulbs and to phase out what they consider to be a waste of energy, mainly in this case incandescents. The problem with that act is at the time the CFL market was pretty young and really pricey. LEDs didn't really exist yet, and of course people kind of just went, so people kind of felt like uncomfortable with the whole business of energy efficiency overall. I mean, it was just a great idea. It was supposed to take 5 years to phase out incandescent light bulbs, except for a few special limited market ones, such as projector bulbs and things like that. Well, a Republican senator from Kentucky wants to make a rider to the a budget bill to make enforcing of the 2000 Act unenforceable. It sounds kind of stupid. Now, I tried to do this video, a news segment several times today, and it kept getting interrupted. So, hopefully this time, third time, we'll get it right. Well, first of all, the reason why it's stupid is because why isn't the market itself allowed to determine what kind of lighting it sees as a practical way to go? We don't need a government mandate to tell us that we have to use a certain type of lighting source. The market should be allowed to decide that. If somebody wants to pay extra money to run incandescent bulbs, then they should have the right to do so. It doesn't take no government oversight body to say you must ban them or remove them from the marketplace. People will choose to decide that. Besides, when I think of ban, I think it's usually because of a safety issue. Well, in that case, CFL should really be banned because they are not a safer choice. Compact fluorescent light bulbs and regular standard fluorescent light bulbs contain mercury, and not only do they contain mercury, but many of the electronic starters and ballast mechanisms in the newer bulbs also have caught fire when it malfunctions in circuits. This is the kind of thing that just kind of makes me wonder if any of these guys in Congress have any idea of what they're doing. Congress is not very smart. Congress has constantly come up with ways to make things a lot more complicated than they should be. This is definitely an issue where the American market must decide what kind of bulbs it wants. I mean, really? Come on. Makes sense to me, right? You're gonna tell me that I have to use brand X or brand Y or brand Z light bulbs. Why can't I make that decision? I am paying money into taxes. I'm paying, for the light bulbs that I buy. I guess if the government was buying the light bulbs, I guess I would have a right to complain as loudly. But the truth is I'm the one who's buying the light bulbs. I'm an American citizen. I do not have a conservator. So why in the hell should I not be allowed to make an economic choice of what works for me? That's the thing that bothers me when you get government mandates. However, let me actually say this. I would not personally recommend the use of incandescents or halogens in the studio, which are still incandescents, by the way, because the place would be so insufferably hot that this place would be almost impossible to work in. At the same time, there's another concerted fire, which is sometimes not thought about with the case of CFLs and fluorescent tubes. What most people don't think about is they run cool. So they put flammable fabric near the light fixtures, thinking that the bulbs will never get hot enough to start the material to burn. Well, that's true. Until the electronic starter fails, and then all of a sudden you got a major conflagration in your hands. And they're reminded of the fact that those electronics may have lead, tin, silver, other chemicals used in producing of the parts, arsenides, name it, they probably got it in it, because they certainly got electrolytic capacitors, iron, coils, wire, copper, aluminium, silver, solder in some circuits, plastics. All this material, if it catches fire, is going to release some very nasty toxic stuff into the air, which could potentially make you very sick at the very least. At worst, you could find out that your next of kin receives a letter from the coroner saying, "I'm sorry, but your mother or your father had passed away because of inhalation from burning materials from an electronic ballast in a CFL that had failed." Or find out that the whole house had burned down and no one knew about the bulb in the basement that was on that someone forgot to turn off. Or they went upstairs to go put the laundry away when they're doing a lot of washing in the basement, in the washing machine. These bulbs also contain mercury. Mercury is a neurotoxin. It can affect the growth of a fetus. They contain, in many cases, contain lead. These bulbs are produced in countries in China where the safety regulations are virtually non-existent. And these things are becoming our main source of light. Let's talk about the incandescent bulb. The big problem with the incandescent bulb is you might have a little bit of solder on the contact on the base and also, of course, on the shell of the base. But other than that, there's no mercury. There's no heavy metal other than those solder and those 2 points. It's mostly glass. And some would point out is, in a way, an incandescent light bulb is a heater. So obviously, if you heat with electric heat, that makes sense, right? You don't need to worry about saying you're already applying for energy assistance for electric heat. So this means in the wintertime, your light bill is paid for by the Home Energy Assistance Program. Okay? On both the local level, which gets block grants from the federal government. Okay? Now, also, I saw on the news today that several members of the Drug Enforcement Agency are very uncomfortable with the legalization for recreational use and medicinal use of marijuana in many states in the Union for medicinal use in 2 states, Washington and Colorado. In Colorado, the number of licensed dispensaries exceeds the number of Starbucks. Well, okay. I don't know how many Starbucks there is in Colorado, so I don't know exactly how many ways to compare that up as far as I know Colorado is a big city, but I don't know how many Starbucks there are in Colorado, in Denver. They're specifically counting the number of Starbucks in Denver. So I assume if there's 5 Starbucks, then there's more than 5 licensed marijuana dispensaries. Okay, what one person said in regards to the concerns by several members of the Drug Enforcement Agency, the critics said is just like the prohibition of alcohol agency of the 20s to the 30s. It sounds like they're just trying to find a way to keep themselves in business by trying to make themselves look still like they're important. Gee, that sounds like the National Security Agency, doesn't it? That is, the NSA is trying to say the same thing. Well, we are doing what we're supposed to do. We're trying to protect you from terrorism. So, we still need to be able to find, grab all the metadata we can from cell phone and home phone calls and computer emails and everything else. It's just an excuse to try to justify its existence. And doesn't make any sense to me either. So obviously, also while we're at it, let's talk about another justify its existence. The home phone, the landline. Now, as you know, T-Mobile right now has offered an uncarrier phase 4, the ability for you to basically bring in one of your cell phones and return in an old, say, AT&T, Verizon, or Sprint cell phone, and they will pay off your early termination fee for you. And there's no contract, and there's no obligation. Several of the big cell phone companies, AT&T, McAdams, that's Verizon, those couple different guys. I keep all of these mixed up. It's just say the CEOs, and that would be accurate. The CEOs of AT&T, the CEO from Verizon, the CEO from Sprint are very nervous because they realize that T-Mobile, which is the 4th largest of the big 4, has seriously undercut all of these guys. Big time. Well, let's look at the facts here. AT&T is had for a long time its home phone industry and its cell phone industry. Originally, AT&T, the cell phone industry, the main company was going to get rid of the cell phone division and just stick with home phone and long distance plans. Well, they changed their minds a little later on after they sold off their own original AT&T phone company. And then when that happened, the all original AT&T loyal customers, depending on the region of the country, were given to a local replacement. In this case, I ended up with Alltel. Alltel was this, which is a CDMA provider, which is no longer with us. Had a young, strapping blonde guy named Chad, pretty cute guy, representing his commercials, and yet all the T-Mobile characters looked like, caricatures of the persons. The only thing is the T-Mobile guy didn't look half bad. Kind of reminds me of a very young John Legere. Okay, but the point is that these cell phone companies are always trying to come up with excuses to try to keep the bottom line. In the case of what happened with AT&T, after they sold off their network technology to SBC, which also bought Singular Wireless, which also bought up the assets for several local companies, including SNET Links here in Connecticut. They realized, this was really a bad idea. We should have kept our cell phone division because that's really where the money is. So they went ahead and they decided to go back into the cell phone plan. Now they're doing the reverse. Now they're trying to get rid of all their home phones programs and just focus on cell phones. In Connecticut, for those of you who don't know, it's not been really published yet by most people, is Frontier. And their ticker symbol is FTR, by the way, if you want to find it on the stock market. I think it's on the NASDAQ. Is bought from from AT&T, the entire Connecticut former assets of SNET, Southern New England Telephone. So now we have been spun off to another company called Frontier. Frontier has realized that there is money to be made in the internet part of things, but also they still, of course, because they don't have cell phone programs, will also make money on trying to capitalize mostly on the internet and broadband technologies, but also, of course, would want to continue to expand the wireline cell phone industry technology to make things better. Okay, great. One of the people for the local phone company said Frontier has plans to return the payphone to a few select places. Well, there's nothing wrong with a payphone. I mean, after all, they don't have cell phone service, so they certainly wouldn't be competing with themselves in that area. However, at the same time, I actually tend to wonder how many of those cell phones are actually going to get any use. Considering the fact that so many people today have gone to using the newer technologies, so it's just things like that kind of just makes me wonder if there's somebody in this industry that really doesn't quite understand what's really driving the market. Okay. Now, the good news is there's nothing wrong with the cell phone market. There's nothing wrong with the home phone market. And I just read another news article through Reddit that said that the average over 60% of people use their smartphones as a feature phone, i.e., mostly for simple texting, email, and the camera. And they're not really necessarily, we're talking about the older generations, my generation, I hate to say that, but it's true, who use the cell phone primarily for things such as I said, texting, phone calls, and email. Okay? Now, all this technology has made our lives more complicated than it's really worth. And yet, we keep wanting to keep putting more features in our phones. Unlike the Minolta commercial, so complicated that it's simple, it's not applying to cell phones. The newer Samsung Galaxies, and I think the iPhone 5 as well, and the iPhone 5S, has more features in it than most people will ever use. I mean, I'm not really interested. I'm having a hard enough time just trying to learn all the stuff from my iPhone 3GS. And I've had my iPhone 3GS for 2+ years. I'm still learning new shit on that thing every friggin' day. And I just learned how to deal with the app switcher. I learned how to finally close unwanted applications to make sure that my phone would run better and allow me to have more files in the transient program area, or the TPA, which is about 64 megabytes in size. Now, if that's the case, then obviously I need to be able to figure out the best way to get things done in a realistic, practical way. I reinstalled, did a full restore of the phone's iOS because I was having some issues where there was some unidentified object taking over 1.8 gigabytes of data under the category of other. I couldn't figure out where the other was. iTunes 10.6.4 didn't really give me an way to look up what other meant. I mean, I could have figured it out maybe through iPhone Explorer, but I didn't want to go through all that aggravation just to explore and not being able to practically safely erase the so-called other. So I decided to go ahead and I did a full iPhone restore and recovery, and I got that otherwise process, getting rid of it. So now at least now the phone is much closer to where it should be. And that was a pretty big sizable savings because the fact is that I only have 8 gigabytes of RAM in my phone. So for me, 8 gigabytes is normally quite a bit. I don't really normally use more than, maybe about 3 gigabytes between data, the operating system, and the program. So obviously for me, that was a major chunk of memory savings. Now, anyway, let me speak of memory and programs and savings and features and stuff like that. Let me explain to you what I'm doing here. I'm still working with this, getting these videos processed, but I'm going to be trying an experiment today. Taking the best features of both iMovie 6 HD and iMovie 9. I'm going to combine them together. What I mean by that is iMovie 6 HD. I like it better because I can hang the pieces of the footage up like on the pegs, and I can just cut the pieces out and swap them around, and it's easy. Whereas iMovie 9 is like, it's really good for some things like the chroma key features and the picture-in-picture and a few other things. Also, the iMovie 6 through the CFX chroma key extension can do chroma key as well. I just never could quite figure out how to get it to work without crashing. One of the things I learned is that iMovie 6 and the HD and the CFX extension, your videos segments must be less than 10 minutes in size, for the reason that the typical thing originally was using a 32-bit file handles. So you gotta have to keep them small to avoid crashing. Which that program was compiled for. It's compiled for a 32-bit sized 32-bit signed size T, not a 64-bit unsigned size T. I don't think it's, or even if it's assigned 64-bit, I don't know. I'll have to look up the specs. But the point here I'm trying to get at is that we're going to keep working on pushing the envelope and exploring new technology. Now, I did not get a chance to show you special effects. I want to show you, you saw me with the chair earlier. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly just show you something right now, because I still got this fabric on the chair. So, bear with me here. Okay, now, you don't see the chair. You see where my hand is. There it is. It's right there. Alright, that's great. What else can I do with that? Now, since you only can see the upper part of the stand on the microphone, microphone appeared to be invisible. It's really not. It's still here. This is what they call the chroma key muslin protector. It's material here, and its purpose was to protect the Muslim. Is it Muslim or Muslim? Or it's certainly not Muslim like in religious groups, but okay. So now the reason I put the stuff back on the chair was in case I don't use the segment in video, and I want to keep that illusion. Because, what I might do is I might just work on this video several times. And next thing I want to try is using a newsroom set. Now, the problem with the newsroom sets I found is twofold. Number one, my camera is not a wide enough angle lens to allow me to actually aim and get me to hold me in the frame and still leave room for the table look. I mean, this is only an end table it's got based on. Okay? Now, if I take my kitchen table from my kitchen and I hang a piece of chroma key green screen material on my kitchen table, because my table is a 1 meter by 1 meter heavy wood card table, you would never know. I mean, the illusion would almost appear complete. Okay, but right now, like I said, all this technology, I'm still working on it. Studio has come a long way from the early days when I first started out using my iPhone 3GS, sitting handheld shot, like on the couch or on the bed. And then finally, I started by taking my home, my 35 millimeter still frame camera tripod, which is for who makes it Velbron or something, which was using on my Pentax K1000, and bought an adapter bracket to let me slip my iPhone 3GS into it so I could actually hold the iPhone up and have it pointed at the couch. And of course, we didn't have a separate microphone at the time. So I found this little neat gizmo, which is supposed to be let you use a external pair of regular standard headphones with an iPhone for phone conversation. Wait, what I'm trying to say is that when I started out, I didn't have very much. And I started adding equipment as we went. So as you can see, in 2011, our studio was pretty simple. By 2012, we had at least a living room. And then by July, August of 2012, we started to do things with a stationary camera. And that was when we started to really expand our system to cover more and more technology. And we're still doing that to this day. We're still adding new features. But it really is starting to really take a lot of time. And I could always use helpers financially and also technical people to help me with the setup, operation, planning, and design the sets. As it's really taken a long time. Maybe working on title introductory video clips, exit clips, sound enhancements, sound technology, you name it. I could use your help on it. So I'd like to again remind you that you can please give me a call or through Google Voice, or contact me through email or Google Plus. I would appreciate it. Let's give me the phone number first. If they don't answer, please don't cry. It just means I'm waiting for you to leave me a voicemail or email, a text message, whatever. The number is within the United States is area code 860-469-2821. Again, that's 860-469-2821. If you want to send me email, my email address is bsandboy, ICHELA3 @yahoo.com or BICHELA3 @gmail.com. And my address is MicheleMarieDalene. That's MicheleMarie, D as in dog, ALENE. Address is 112 Main Street, apartment number 9. That's in Winstead, WINSTED. The state is Connecticut. The zip code is 06098. The country is the United States of America. Planet is Earth, or Terra, and the solar system, and in the Milky Way galaxy. And so you can reach me through one of those means. And also, Lumi is also looking for more users on her channel as well. And I'll give you Lumi's page, and she needs ideas as well as I do of more topics. You guys are pretty knowledgeable. You guys, I don't want to turn my show into an Alex Jones type show where you see me spouting vitriol everywhere. I hate that kind of stuff. I want to encourage conversations with you. Okay? So, you can reach, Lumi has a tiny URL. Would you like to get it? I will, yeah. It's http://www.tinyurl.com/LUMIFINISTRA. You can also reach me at email at LUMIFINISTRA @gmail.com. And you can also find me on Google Plus as Lumi Finistra, Lumi space Finistra. And like Michelle said, we can use your help, we use suggestions. Oh, Michelle, what? I thought we were going to try that experiment of having me and you physically sitting in the same chair next to each other through virtual emulation. Yeah, well, we can do that. The problem we're going to run into, though, is the fact is that we have to figure out how we're going to ask and answer questions to the other. Right, we'd have to make it seem seamless, and that might be hard, which means writing a script. Yeah, writing a script and following the script to the letter, especially if there's time pauses. Yeah, and that's still be interesting. But there'll be another more advanced project for later on. And what do you think about the last video? I think the last video came out very good. I am actually very amazed that the performance of, especially with the sound effects, the birds chirping, the lighting was a little off because technically the sun was behind you in that picture. But it still looked really nice, even though the lighting wasn't quite right. But then again, if you're actually taking a shot like that, then you probably would have to put a fill because otherwise the person would be in shadow. Right, there would have been a silhouette. Right, so you would have to either A, to seriously increase the light on the face anyway. So yes, why I thought it was kind of okay. It's not perfect, but it was pretty cool. You know, maybe a fan, if you're going to do a windy scene, a window fan blowing at you, blowing your hair around. You know, what about a hair dryer set on air? Oh, you're trying to emulate a wind like a breeze, or you're trying to emulate a hurricane? Okay, that's true. Yeah, different fans for different needs. So, like I said before, Bloom, we've come a long way. Yes, you have. A long way from those early days of videos. Oh my God. The very first video Michelle ever did. Would you ever put that video up on YouTube? I might. I did originally have it on YouTube, but because of the fact that it had a piece of music on it, I took it off. But I could point out to all these people out there, if you look at the earliest videos from 2011, you'll see some of the early ones because I broke them into playlist segments. Do it. Look at the videos from 2011, 2012, 2013, and of course now 2014, which is the current year. And check it out and see how they've changed. And I know we're going to add more stuff to it. You know, this has become a major part of my life, and this is not something that I would going to be able to just walk away from. I think if I was to walk away, I think it would break my heart. Yeah, I think so, because, I mean, this is a part of you, and I think that this really would be a bad day if you ever see the end of those great videos. Yeah. So, anyway, guys, that was it for now. I wanted to remind all of you to please like, share, comment, and subscribe. I will be posting this video, of course, on the following locations, as I always do. I'm posting it on my Maka World blogger. I'm also posting it on Facebook. I'm posting it on Twitter. And, of course, I'm going to post the link to it on Google+. Yep. Like I always do. Yeah. How come I never use Reddit or Orkut? Because I'm not sure what to do with Orkut. Personally, I don't even know what it is. Lincoln could put it on Lincoln. Yeah, but I don't know. I'll have to look into it. You have to look into it. But for right now, most of the videos I post up are on using the three major ones, and then also occasionally I put one on Reddit as well. But this is probably not going to be one of the Reddit ones. Probably not. But don't forget, you guys are welcome to post these videos as well, because Michelle has changed license to Creative Commons. Yep. And we removed all the AdSense. Yes. You are so smart. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, Lum. And what are you going to be ever trying the new hashtags for Google Plus? The hashtags. I just found out about those. I don't really know much about the hashtags. Should check them out. But I don't know how does the hashtags work anyway. I don't know. But I think it's just getting a little long, so I think we should get ready to wrap it up and say that Michelle has got good news about weather for the next few days. Well, it's not really like okay. It depends on where you're from. I guess I will briefly talk about that. You might as well, because you're the North American Snow Queen. Okay. In the National Weather Service shows for Saturday, Sunday, I think Monday, or for quite a few days in a row, there will be potential for snow. The temperatures are going to drop quite a bit. Right now, for example, I think it is -1 degrees outside. Actually, for this time of night, it's pretty warm. It is pretty warm, yeah. And some of the highs are going to be like -3, -4 degrees Celsius. So it's going to cool down again. Be closer to where it should be. Yes, okay. So, and there's going to be potentials for snow as well. Yep, it's going to be snow. And by the way, Michelle has lost some weight. Yes, I have. Okay, and also Michelle looks a lot better now. I got a ways to go. Yeah, I know. But you're getting there. And I think, sorry, Jessica, while Michelle is losing weight. And guess what? Like she said before, her fat does not keep her warm. All right. Okay, everybody. Okay, see you all soon. Now, you have a nice day. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if you've got any ideas for comments, bring them up. Either here on YouTube in the comment section below or on Google Plus or email, whatever. And we'll look at them. All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.